Well, hello, beautiful faces. It's me, Sunnie, and welcome to Queens Village Live. This is a platform that was created by the Miss Runway competition to allow our queens and kings and other beautiful faces throughout the world to have a platform to come and share all of their beautiful knowledge, expertise in health, wellness, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy. Today, we have a live audience. Make some noise, audience! And we are here to celebrate the power of pageantry with beautiful guests, crowns, queens, sashes to be sitting on the beautiful royal couch. Stay tuned. My first guest is Miss Constance Robinson. She's the director of the Miss Juneteenth, South Florida Juneteenth pageant. Come on, everyone, welcome Miss Constance Robinson. You look amazing as usual, So how's your day going so far? So good. So far, so good, yes. So let's get right into the topic, the power of pageantry. What does that mean to you?
The power of pageantry. Well, besides the endless opportunities that pageants provide young ladies, it definitely builds your self-esteem and self-confidence. It also provides a platform so you can showcase your talent.
Right. Okay. But you as a director, what is it that you look for in terms of contestants? Because one of those contestants will actually be your winner. What do you look for?
Well, I look for self-confidence.
Okay.
Definitely self-confidence. It takes a mental toughness. It takes your self-esteem has to be at a level of being a queen.
Right.
That mental toughness of being a queen.
Right. And sometimes a lot of the contestants don't really understand what they are entering, but that's where the director comes in. So how do you convey that information to your contestants? Like, how do you get that across in terms of having that mindset? What do you tell your contestants?
Well, I tell them about my life experience being a part of a pageant and not really wanting to be in the pageant. And I found myself being the oldest contestant in the pageant. Yes. Yes. And so I tell my story because from it, I learned that, that self-esteem and self-confidence is that you're not really competing with other people. You're competing with yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And I always give that tip. That tip is you're on stage alone.
Yes.
When it's your turn, you're not on stage with that person and that person. When it's time for the judges to judge you, they are judging you individually.
Yes.
So that is a good, tip to give them.
Yeah.
So the other question is, with you being a director, do you feel like there's a difference with being a director and then directing the pageant?
Yes. I've been on both ends.
Yeah.
I love being a director. I always look at the whole picture of how the show is supposed to run.
Right.
But actually doing the work of the production part, it's a lot of work. It is definitely a lot of work.
It really is. With the Miss Runway, because I'm the director of the Miss Runway International. We're international, everyone. With the Miss International pageant, I directed as well as have a team in the back to assist because you really can't do it alone. You have to have a team to put on a pageant, to put on the production. And then as the director, you have to convey that information to your contestants that this is also their production too. So they have to come in and do their part as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So what's coming up for you?
Well, we're getting ready for the South Florida Miss Juneteenth pageant.
Ooh, Miss Juneteenth. Yes. When is it?
June 4th. It's going to be at the historic Hampton House.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we had it there last year. It was our first pageant, so we're having it there again. And it's going to be a fantastic event. It's going to be awesome this year.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. So how can someone reach you if they're interested in getting tickets?
Definitely, you can go to our website,
Okay.
southfloridajuneteenth.org. We have tickets there, or you can go to our Eventbrite,
Okay.
and they can have tickets there too.
Awesome.
Mhm.
But thank you so much, Constance. Let's hear it from Miss Thompson and Robert coming over to enjoy with us on our royal couch. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, beautiful faces. We'll be right back. So my next guest, oh, she's adorable. Wait till you see this beautiful face. She is the current Miss Runway Ambassador, Miss Runway Teen Ambassador for 2022. Help me welcome Miss Samara Saint Ford. How are you? All right. Let's sit down. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
I love this gown. Tell me a little bit about this gown.
This is an emerald green gown that my mother brought for me. I actually wore this gown to compete at the South Florida Juneteenth pageant, and I decided that wearing it today will make me feel good, bring me back to the memories of the pageant.
Yes, I love it. What do you think, audience? It's beautiful. Oh, yes. All right. Okay, so let's get right into our show. We already know the topic is the power of pageantry. So what does that mean to you?
So when I hear power of pageantry, the first word that comes to my mind is empowerment, because pageantry is empowered women empowering women. So when we think about pageants, people think about, oh, it's a competition with each other. Who gets this the best? Who gets this the best? But when I went into the world of pageantry, I was able to meet a lot of wonderful girls who actually helped me with my pageant and were empowering me. And through there, I was able to gain another level of self-esteem,
Yeah,
another level of self-love and confidence.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. And that's true because for you to say empowerment, that's the first time I've ever heard someone of your age to say that pageantry is a form of empowerment. I always hear sisterhood. But when you say empowerment, that's really good to say because it really is. We are empowering each other along the way. And not only during a pageant, lifelong, because you actually develop a family through pageantry. Tell me a little bit about some of the family that you developed in pageantry.
Some of the family that I developed during the pageantry was Miss Uracel and Anaya, because I don't really talk a lot. So when I do talk, it's really rare and it's really soft-spoken, but they were able to bring out my personality and I was able to, become comfortable with them. Like she let me know that you could reach out to me anytime and I was able to reach out to her. I also met Miss Constance and her daughter Amora, who actually brought me into the South Florida Juneteenth pageant.
Okay.
So that was another family. Of course, Miss Sunnie. I was able to text you at any hour at night. Like, guys, I'll text her at midnight and she'll answer me. So, yes, it's a really amazing family.
Yes, yes. I love it. Let's clap for this beautiful face. We have to be there for our youth. So my question to you is, what are some of the superpowers that you feel you gain from pageantry?
So some of the superpowers that I gained from pageantry was embracing my height. So as a 15-year-old out here, oh my gosh, you're so tall for your age. You should play basketball. But in reality, I do not want to play basketball.
Right,
You
right.
do all of this, but then going into the pageantry, seeing how my height inspired so much other teens, that so much people who experience the same thing, I was able to actually embrace it. And I really love my height. Like I was
Right.
heels confidently.
Yeah.
And I also love my scar as well. Like I wouldn't necessarily hide it, but then I would think about it. But now I'm able to wear it openly and just embrace it.
Yes, I love it. So let's talk about that scar. And that's a part of your platform,
Yes.
correct? So let's quickly talk about your community platform.
Okay, so my community platform is mental health. And the reason why I chose mental health is because a lot of people go through a lot of things while growing up. For me, at 13, I was diagnosed with scoliosis and I had to have a spinal fusion. So a spinal fusion is where, they'll open my spine from my neck down. And I have 2 metal rods and 14 screws in my spine. And from there, the recovery process was really difficult. It really challenged my mental health. And
Right.
that was a strength that I had to gain. But through there, I was able to develop a platform, mental health, and help other people who are also going through the same thing, not just scoliosis, but with society and growing up and with the feedback you're hearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're good. You're okay. Everything is good. Yeah. You would never think when you see someone, you really don't know what people have experienced in their life. And I do appreciate you sharing your story with us. I really do appreciate that. So before we go, what's coming up next for Samara?
So coming up next for Samara is I will be competing in the Miss Runway International competition.
All right.
I'm currently preparing for that competition.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Queen. You look gorgeous as always for being here on the Royal Couch. Come on, everyone. Let's make some noise for Samara. All right, beautiful faces. We'll be right back. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Fashion Reboot. Fashion Reboot styled me today. How do I look? Yes. Fashion Reboot is a sustainable, pre-owned fashion boutique, online boutique. You can follow them for all your vintage, retro, modern day brands and unique styles at fashionreboot.store. So please support. We got to support small businesses. So let's hear it for Fashion Reboot. Yes. All right, so let's get ready for our next beautiful queen that I have to come share this beautiful Royal Couch today. Please put your hands together. Let me get my marquee for Dr. Naisha McMassingale. She is the current Mrs. Royalty International Plus. Let's make some noise. Come on, everyone. Oh, yes, 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 yes. How are you today?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I know. We all have to be blessed. I do appreciate you being here today with us on the Royal Couch.
I love it. Thank you so much for
And it
having me.
actually matches your title. Royal, Miss Royal International. Is it Mrs.?
Mrs.
Mrs.
It's Mrs. They have to get me a new set.
Oh,
because
okay.
they're married. So they didn't know who was gonna win. So it's Liz.
Okay.
So they're sending me a new Mrs. sash, but it is Mrs.
Mrs. Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right, so let's make some noise for our Mrs. Royalty International. All right, come on, audience. We can make some noise. So, first, you look gorgeous as always.
Thank
I love all the bling.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
popping out like a star. So, you know the title.
Yeah.
The Power of Pageantry. So, what does that mean to you?
The power of pageantry to me, it means life changing. It
Right.
changes lives.
Right.
And a lot of people don't see pageantry as a life changing experience, but I've seen it transform and change the lives of women.
Right.
And usually through pageantry, you see the glitz and the glam. You see the bling. You see all of this, but you don't know the behind the scenes.
Yes.
You know, and as a director and as a competitor,
Right.
I've seen women in domestic violence situations come to pageantry as a way to feel better about themselves,
Right.
as a way to start over. I've seen teens who have been bullied,
Right.
who want to commit suicide, be brought into pageantry and regain a self-confidence that I've never seen before. So pageantry for me, the power of pageantry is the power to change lives.
I love it. Yeah, you can clap. Come on. We're live. But you know what? When you say that, that's something to really think about, where you don't know what people are going through.
Absolutely.
And people don't realize how pageantry can save lives, you know. And with you being a director as well as a title holder, you've seen both,
Absolutely.
you know, been on both sides. So let me ask you a question when it comes to, as a director, what are some of the strengths that as a director in the pageant world that you feel you gained, the strengths?
The strengths that I've gained as a director through pageantry. Well, I think the connections, right? I think being able to make connections and connect with people. As a director, you have to be able to deal with all personalities.
Yes.
Because you never know who's going to come through your door as a competitor.
Yeah.
Right? So I think I've learned how to deal with all types of personalities, different nationalities. There's people, I was like, why is she doing such and such? They said, that's her religion or that's their custom. Like, oh, okay.
Right.
So I've learned a lot through pageantry because there's some things we tend to be a bit judgmental sometimes because we know things should be our way and this is how it should be.
That's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right. But through pageantry, and I've seen people compete from different places. Like, wow. So it is a little different. So I had to learn.
Right.
So I think I've been able to learn a lot through pageantry.
So your strengths as a director would be like networking and
Connecting, right. Connecting, right. To different people from different backgrounds.
Right.
Diversity and inclusivity.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of pageants, in my opinion, some of them do lack, you know, but it is good to be able to have that experience.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about this pageant, Mrs. Royalty International Plus.
Royalty International is a system that focuses on diversity and inclusivity.
Right.
And when I competed in February, I was just amazed when I walked through the door because I've been competing for 10 plus years, but I've never competed in a system
They had people from Australia and China and all these different places.
Awesome, right?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, they have an accent. They sound like
Yes.
you know. I was amazed. Wow.
Wow.
Competing in the same pageant as me, right? So, and they were different sizes from size 0 up until a size 24, 26. That was me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we all were competing in the same pageant for the same purpose,
Right.
right? Inclusivity and diversity. So Royalty International represents that, and I am so proud to represent them. It is a system that is owned by someone that is of European descent, right? And I've always competed for African American directors.
Right. So it's always been like a certain platform.
Exactly.
Right.
So I saw a different side of the world. I love it over here.
No, it's good.
You know,
Want to be inclusive.
exactly. You want to be inclusive.
Yeah.
So it was different. It was different to experience something else,
Right.
and I loved it.
So I have 2 more questions for you. The first one is, what tips can you give women of our age that's interested in pageantry or may not be interested because they feel like they have aged out? What tips or what
no
advice?
such thing as aging out of
Exactly.
pageantry.
Exactly. But see, they've seen that.
Yeah,
No.
it's no such thing. There is a pageant literally for everyone.
Right.
You know, when I did my research, which I think is the first thing you have to do is research,
Right.
right? Because there's so many different pageants out there. There's Miss Senior America, you know? And I was like, oh, I can do that after I finish this, but I don't want to be considered senior yet.
Look, I am. I want all my perks.
I don't want
all my perks.
But there's Miss Senior America, but there are a lot of systems. We have our elite divisions and those divisions that are 50 plus.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't matter your size, your marital status, it's just your age. If you're 50 and over, you can compete in this particular division.
Okay.
And I say, do your research and do it. Try it.
Right.
And I always say, try it one time. And if you don't like it, you don't ever have to do it again.
Exactly.
Right? But you never can say that you didn't try. Right? Nothing beats a failure but a try.
Exactly.
You know?
I like that. I like that. And my last question is, what's coming up next for Naisha?
There's a couple things coming up. First thing would be to have our first Ultimate United States pageant that I am a co-owner of. That will be in Atlanta, Georgia in November.
Okay.
It is Ultimate United States and Educators of America.
Okay.
So those persons who are in the field of education actually get to be able to compete for a title.
Oh.
Yeah. So teachers, paraprofessionals, counselors, principals, assistant principals will all be competing for a title, as well as Ultimate United States, which also welcomes men.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And
Yes.
secondly, what I'm working on with my platform and with my title is the Daddy's Little Girls Conference.
Okay.
So I want to do a conference for women who have suffered the loss of a father or a father figure.
Oh.
And a lot of times we don't know how to cope and go on because we have been daddy's little girls all our
That
lives.
was me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I've experienced it. My daughters were daddy's little girls as well. They lost their father. So it's something that I want to do for women who have lost that father figure in their life.
Amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Come on. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let's make some noise for this beautiful face here. Naisha Nancy. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
I want to give a big shout out to our next sponsor, EVE Parties, Elegant Vision Events. If you need a party, decor, rental, decoration, all of that fabulous stuff, be sure to contact Elegant Vision Events on Facebook, or you can call 954-380-2417. That's 954-380-2417. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, we provide topic discussion content where we bring on special invited guests. As you can see, I had these beautiful faces sitting on the royal couch, and we provide different topic discussion, and we bring on special guests, and we talk about these things, and we let them share their experiences. We let them share their knowledge so that we can all learn something new, because I feel like we all have room for growth. But anyway, this next guest is someone who I have been knowing since she was probably maybe in the 9th grade. What is that, 14? And I am so super proud of her. And she's here today to share her experience and her knowledge of what the power of pageantry means to her. So let me introduce to you guys, and I want you all to help me welcome Delpha Samuels, the Executive Director of the Florida Plus America Pageant. Come on, Delpha. Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Come on and have a seat on the royal couch.
I'm excited to be on the royal couch.
Yes, yes. Look at you. You ladies are showing off. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about this gown you're wearing.
Well, this gown is actually a custom design gown. It was made by Judith Barnes, JB Couture, which
Okay.
I met in a fashion show with you. And she's been designing for my sister and I for some time, but this is a original piece. I told her I wanted something long, one sleeve.
I love it. I love the asymmetrical one sleeve off. I love it. And with the piece there, I love
She actually handmade this bow herself, so she's amazing.
You got it. You got it, Mama. You got it. So doesn't she look beautiful? Everyone, let's make some noise. I know you guys are eating, but that's okay. We're going to keep the show going. So Delpha, you know the topic today is the power of pageantry. What does that mean to you, or what does that look like to you?
Wow. I've been in pageantry for quite some time. And one thing I realized is that a lot of people, especially if they have no knowledge of pageantry, they associate pageantry with the gowns, the glitz, the glam, all the beautiful things about it. But through my experience throughout the years, I've learned that the crown gives you a voice.
Right.
The crown creates a platform for you to raise awareness. Those that really understand and know pageantry know that every queen has something that they're passionate about, that they speak about. And I really truly believe that the crown gives you that voice. It gives you that platform where people will pay attention to you.
Right.
They start to listen to you. It also helps you to get resources, connect you to people. And some of the queens that came before me talked about family. I've competed against queens that are now like sisters to me, that were in my wedding, my child's godparents, so it's really the power that the crown gives you to have a voice. And I really believe that every queen's voice is power. And whatever it is that your topic is, your platform is, your voice in that area is power.
And I'm going to piggyback off of what you're saying, because the crown itself, when you walk in the room, that's power there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Because when you walk into a room, I'm going to make this story really short. To be honest, it's not a good story, but it showed the power of that crown and that sash. We walked into an event that we were invited to, okay? And when we walked into the event, all of the attention went to the queens. It got off what was going on at that moment, and all the photographers and the media. This was a really big event, and all the media started taking pictures of the queens. The person who was doing the event got upset.
Wow.
Because all of the attention started going towards the queens and wanted us to leave. So that showed me that this crown and sash got a lot of power, to the point where you want us to leave. We didn't leave, by the way, but it showed me how this crown and this sash has the power to even make a person feel like they shouldn't be here. So that's why I'm saying that it's not really a good story, but it's a story to show you how powerful the crown and sash. And if you could remember, as being Miss Runway, how we would go to different events, and the minute you walk in, people just gravitate to you.
Right. Definitely. I seen the power that the crown gave me. People started inviting me places. They wanted me to do things. It really was me winning Miss Runway. Shameless plug. I was 2010. I was the first one to go to New York Fashion Week. But I always gotta say that, okay? But it jump-started my career.
Right.
I wanted to do so many things, and people paid attention to me.
Right.
They wanted to know what I was about. It gave me the opportunity to speak.
Right.
Because it's different from modeling and pageantry. You have no voice.
Right.
When you're a model, but
Right.
pageantry gives you the beauty and also gives you the voice.
Right.
And my platform, I worked with a representative. I partnered with a representative that was trying to pass a texting ban for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
And not until she met up with me, my sister, I walk in there with the crown and sash. And the person she's been trying to get the meeting with forever was like, send Miss Florida up. We want to see what she wants. And the bill was passed within 2 days.
You see the power?
The power that the crown gave us.
That's
So, yeah.
like one of the twin powers. Yes.
Yeah.
So now I want to ask you a question as a director.
Yes.
Okay. For a director, because I know you've been on both sides. Your current title is, tell me a little bit about you being the director of.
Sure. Well, I'm the executive director of the Florida Plus America pageant.
Okay.
Yes. So the Florida Plus America pageant is a pageant that highlights plus size women.
Right.
You know, those of us that have been in pageantry for years. You know, I've been on every side of pageantry in the USA, America, and unfortunately, I've been in rooms where they were like, no, don't put the plus size girls in the top. Don't make sure they're not in the top 5. We have a look, we have a this and that. And I've witnessed that. I've seen that. And I've heard that. So me being a plus size director is so empowering, because I'm able to give a voice, to give us a place where plus size women are not judged. They're not ridiculed for how they look. They're not expected to lose weight or to look like how everybody wants them to look. So it's very empowering, not just for them, but for me.
I love that. And then with you not being plus size, how is that? How is that?
It's so funny for me, because they're always like, oh, what is your connection? My best friend is plus size.
Exactly.
My grandmother is plus size, you know, and she's one of the most influential women in my life. The majority of the United States of America is plus size. You know, our size is, the size 0 is really not common.
Right.
You know, so I always say, well, what would you expect me to do?
How it isn't common. You know, being small really isn't.
You know, so you know, I'm really, I feel like in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, so
and I love that you are the director. Let's clap it up for this beautiful face here. And I love that, you know, because it shows that you are open to everyone, you know, because you have some directors, like you say, you know, I'm not trying to make pageant to look like it's all apples and grapes and fruits, like our fruit bowl over there on the table. I am really trying to get people to understand every side of it. You know, with me being a director, I became a director for the same reason about directors in the back saying, I don't want that person, I don't want that person. I became a director of my own pageant because I competed in a competition, was for the model of the year. Now it was about 100 models. I was the shortest. Okay, so that's why I did Miss Runway with no height requirement, with no weight requirement, no age requirement, because I want to give everyone an opportunity to express themselves on the runway through fashion, through beauty, through philanthropy, through health, through whatever it is that they are passionate about. That is what Miss Runway is about, you know.
And I thank you for that, honestly, because I've never shared this, but I feel led. You know, I was competing in the Florida USA system for years. And I knew that I was good. I knew that I had potential. And because I was not 5'8", I would make the top, but I would never have the opportunity or the chance to win. You know, so Miss Runway was my first very big win. You know, and I felt like I needed it. Because I was going to give up on pageantry. I was just like, you know, I'm not tall, people not gonna ever whatever. I got the look and I got the talent. And I entered Miss Runway, and it was just a game changer for me. It was in a sense, it affirmed me, who I was, that my size, my height was acceptable. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. It really shifted and changed my life, you know, forever. I learned so much. I've grew so much.
And I see it. And that's like dear heart to me as well, to see that so many of my contestants, winners, title holders have gone on to do it. And don't think if I don't comment or like your post, I'm watching. And I see all of the wonderful things that all of you are doing.
Always watching.
I'm watching, you know, I mean, you know, I'm just not like that active on Facebook like that, but I am watching, you know. So I have one last question for you. What's coming up for Delpha?
What's coming up for me right now, I'm preparing for nationals. The Florida Plus America Queens are going to compete in Texas in July. So we are really just all in, you know,
you all in
camp and training
mode.
Besides, you know, being a director and a queen, I'm also a coach. I own Queens Academy. So they are going through a full extensive Queens Academy boot camp. And I'm excited and looking forward to seeing, you know, just what's in store for them at national.
I'm so proud of you, Delpha. Keep up your good work. Let's hear it for Delpha Samuels, everyone. All right, we'll be right back with our next and final guest here on Queens Village Live. we are so excited for our last guest of today here on Queens Village Live. But before I introduce my guest, let me give a big shout out to our big sponsor, Caroline's House of Fashion. Caroline's House of Fashion. She provides evening gowns, prom dresses, cocktail dresses, all of what you need for your prom, for your wedding, or just for a girls' day out. Please reach out to her on Facebook or Instagram at Caroline's House of Fashions. All right, so thank you so much, Caroline House of Fashions. We appreciate all of your support. So coming to the Royal Couch, we have our final guest. She is, wait a minute, let me see how I can say this. But this young lady, I'm so super proud of her. She was Miss Runway 29. Thank you for telling me that. And she's actually the second one, but she's actually the one that actually created the mold for all of the future contestants or future Miss Runway title holders. Please, audience, help me welcome Chanel Welch. Come on, audience. Look how gorgeous. Look at you. Look at you. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Chanel, thank you so much for being here on the Royal Couch.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I love this look. Tell me about this look.
I'm a previous pageant girl, and I heard we were speaking about the Power of Pageantry, so I had to put my bling on.
Yes, that's the power.
Again, my sequence, I just wanted to go with a bold shoulder, something that's still conservative, but not really, because I got some legs out, but with a little bit of pop of color.
I love the earrings. I love the whole.
Thank you. I actually bought this dress for New Year's and never wore it, so I was like, okay, I'll pull it out today.
Okay, well, I'm glad you wore it to the Queens Village Live. Yes. So let's get right into the show. You know, the topic is the power of pageantry. What does that mean to you?
The power of pageantry to me means transformation and connection.
Yeah.
For me, it was a full transformation, full 360 when I got into pageantry. The way how I was scouted out was I was taking some modeling classes, and the infamous Michael Galanis
Oh my God.
pulled me out of the crowd and was like, I want you to compete in Miss Coral Gables USA, which was my Miss Coral Gables Teen USA. I was a teenager at the time, and that was my first pageant. I was placed as first runner-up, and I ended up taking on the title. Had no clue as to what I was doing, nothing. I thought I was going on there to work it, honey. And little did I know, I was stepping into a world that completely changed my life and made me meet amazing, amazing people.
Right. So with you being the title holder, well, you've been in several pageants.
Correct.
So give me some tips on, well, not so much as tips yet, your experience in some of the pageants that you competed in.
Well, some of the pageants I would say my experience is really starting to get to know yourself.
Right.
Because stepping in is something that's brand new, it's fresh, you're excited, but you're also kind of like, what do I do? What is it? Is it like toddlers and tiaras?
Right.
You're trying to figure out how to navigate through it. But one thing that helped me throughout my journey was my team. My mom was very involved in everything that I was doing. And once I said I wanted to do something, she said, okay, let's do it. And we're going to figure out how to do it and how to do it the right way. So every time I competed, every time I went on, I learned, I observed, I made connections, and I made sure that I was noticed that time.
Right.
Yeah. So even if I didn't win, someone was pulling me out in the crowd, and I continued to grow from there.
Right.
Now I've moved on to styling. I moved on to finance and so many different industries that I feel like pageantry helps me with.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think pageantry gave you those powers?
It has, because I feel like I can be in a room with any race, any ethnicity, any age group.
Right.
And I know how to speak. I'm confident. I know how to dress. I know how to approach any situation and answer any question. And I feel like that's what pageantry does.
That's a power.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because that was going to be my next question. What powers do you think pageantry has given you?
That is my superpower.
Yeah.
I always say this, one thing I know I can do is interview.
Yeah.
And one thing I do know, no matter how many different areas or different situations you may be in, the things and the tools that you learn through pageantry is universal.
Right.
Okay, so being presentable, that's universal. That's what makes people stop. It's not everything, but that's the chance for them to stop and look at you.
Right.
Once you get their attention, then you learn how to open up your mouth.
Right.
And then you speak. And those things, one thing leads to another. And they're like, okay, well, she's not just a pretty face, she's brains. Because in pageantry, a lot of people don't understand. We can ask some very...
Yes, you get questions, and then when you go to events and you're on red carpet,
Correct.
being interviewed, you have to be prepared for this. To all the contestants that's here today, this is something that you definitely need to take notes, because I don't know how a lot of the other pageant systems are, but I know with Miss Runway, you go to a lot of events and you're always being asked questions about your title, and you're always being asked questions about yourself. Do you think some pageants, or most pageants, do they provide those trainings, or is that something you have to learn as you go?
I feel a lot of systems you have to learn as you go. If you are blessed to have an amazing director that is going to kind of take you under their wing and assist you with that, then that's great. Then you lucked up.
Right. So that's another power, to have a good,
That's a great
right.
director. And I find that the best directors were previous pageant title holders, because they know what you're going through.
Right.
They can relate to it, and they can understand what judges are looking for and still sustain your confidence in that. Not getting you so wrapped up into the judges,
Right.
but understanding and respecting your journey throughout that.
Right.
So I love and applaud previous title holders that
becomes director, and that's good to.
And you notice the difference as a contestant, in my opinion, because I've been to systems where I barely spoke to my director.
Wow.
Like, this is the day of the pageant.
That's it.
And that's it.
Right. Or maybe not even when you sign up, you probably don't see the director.
No.
Yeah.
And maybe once or twice, you probably only see them at the big things or
Right.
station.
Right.
But when you do have that director that wants you to really work your title,
Right.
and it's not just for the state pageant, they understand that you don't have this title for an entire year. You may go to states or nationals and not win, but you still have
a platform.
and you have
And
to work that platform.
that's good to say that, because we have some contestants here that's competing in the Miss Juneteenth pageant.
Amazing.
Yes, let's clap it up for those contestants that's here. They're going to be competing next Sunday. So for those that have these local titles, because they're competing for South Florida, so it's a state competition. So do you have any tips for them with their local titles if they don't win the title?
Be an advocate in your community. Whatever community or title hold that you represent, city that you represent, you want to make sure you know your city officials. You want to make sure that you are known in your community and spread your platform as much as possible. Even though it may not be the state sash as yet, because we're still prepping for that, correct? Right. That sash is power, and the more experience that you get, it's actually going to even prepare you if you continue onto this journey. So I say, don't get doubted by, okay, I didn't win, or I'm only preparing for this next step. You took the first step.
Right.
So there you can create your own staircase after that. It's really up to you to decide and work what you want to do with it. Because what you don't know is you're inspiring that next contestant that's coming along.
Exactly.
You know, they're looking at you, they're watching you. Remember, you are always being watched.
Yes. I always tell them, once you win that title, you become a public figure.
Exactly.
Okay? Whether you win the title of the state, but if you have a title, you are still a public figure with a crown and a sash. That's the power.
That's the power.
Yes.
And know that it's not the end. Because one of the things, I spoke to a young lady who I'm assisting and helping her with the pageant. One of the tips I always tell everyone is you don't know who's in that audience.
Yeah.
I've done plenty of pageants, and I may have not won every single one of them, but trust and believe that when I go in that lobby, they're pulling me to the side. They're either saying, come do this. I've gotten to do commercials, things like that, just off of being and competing in a pageant on a local status.
The stage.
So you never know.
Yeah. Now, before we go, I have a few more questions to ask you based on what you're saying about if you didn't win. And when you go into the lobby, my pet peeve is to see a contestant that does not know how to lose. And what I mean by that is, if you don't win the title, and it's not a loss, it's just an experience.
Correct.
And your experience didn't give you the expectation that you were looking for, but you learned from it, right? But I, as a director, I look for how you did not win that title. I want to see your reaction. I want to see if you go congratulate the person who won. I want to see if you stay on stage and just talk to the other contestants. What I don't want to see is you storming off the stage, mad at everybody because you didn't win. But because you knew how to take whatever came out, the result that came out of those pageants, you started getting more context because they saw how you reacted.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So that's something for everyone to learn. People don't see just how you win. They also see how you don't lose, how you lose, but it's not a loss. It's just an experience.
Correct.
It's just an experience. I want you to really quickly, because parents don't really understand how important it is for them to be a part of the journey.
Correct.
But there's a balance. There's a place for the parent, and then there's a place for the daughter.
Correct.
You know, because some parents can be a little overbearing where they're trying to take the place of the daughter when they need to know the boundary. So what tip or advice can you give parents? Because I know your mom. See, I met your mom because you were my title holder, and your mom knew her place, but her place was to make sure that your place was in place. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because of work and things like that,
Yeah.
she really can only come to like the big things, but she's the one that's advocating behind the scenes and making sure my wardrobe is together. So a lot of times you guys see my sister.
Right.
And at that time, I was 17, and I was like, okay, I know I got it figured out. I have everything. I got the photo shoot date mixed up, almost had the pageant date mixed up for Miss Runway. And my mother found out,
Yes.
and she got me together in front of everybody. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Because I dropped the ball in that portion of it. I was supposed to be on top of that. She has the financial backing. She's making sure my wardrobe is together. But at the same time,
Right.
she doesn't understand. You're still preparing for life.
Yeah.
This is a responsibility that you're taking on, and it can't just be mommy and daddy
All the time.
You
Yeah.
have to also learn how to stand alone and know that the tools that they gave to you, you're also a representation of them.
Exactly.
So that's also why because she's like,
Oh, she was
I'm
not
here.
having it. She was not having it.
Advocating for you.
Yes. And you're not
doing your job.
just keeping up with the schedule that was given to you. Yeah, and you're waiting for mommy to do it.
Exactly. That was my mom.
Yes.
You don't play.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So that's how I would say, but teamwork. These
Yeah.
young ladies need a team. And the thing is, your team may start with your mom, but it can build and grow from that.
Yeah.
I have a trailblazing team.
Yeah.
When I was in pageantry, and even now through life, that transition into other things. But it started with my mom. And then as I got into understanding my platform, it went on to my church. And then it went on to my friends.
Right.
It went on to my workspace. And then it went on to the sisterhood I built through pageantry. I can call anybody right now and ask them for a dress.
Yeah. And that's the power.
And that is the power of pageantry. I also wanted to just touch base a little bit on fundraising. A lot of these young ladies don't understand the power of fundraising, which are local titles. Pageantry is a great and amazing thing, but it's also very expensive.
Yes.
Me coming from finances and having a financial background in banking and working in New York City for so many years, I understand that budgeting and prioritizing things, you can live a life of luxury, but it still has to be
Yeah.
budget. And we understand pageantry can get expensive. Utilize your local title. Go into these stores, ask your church, understand the power of fundraising. I've gotten my whole spot fees, and these fees are not cheap.
No, they're
Going to
not.
Miss USA and a lot of these titles.
To be a sponsor.
You know, so I just wanted to touch base on that a little bit. I know I kind of drifted.
No, that's
I
fine.
wanted to send that message out there for people to understand that it doesn't have to be that much of a burden.
Okay.
Because when you don't like how you look,
You're not gonna do your best. Yeah, you're not gonna do your best.
from to your left or your right and not tunnel vigiling to that.
Right. Right. So let's really quickly, what is coming up next for you?
So currently, I don't know if you guys don't know, I am a celebrity stylist, and I've been styling numerous amount of celebrities. I kind of
Woo, let's clap it up. Right. Yes.
And one of my main clients, which is Dr. Wendy Osefo, who is a Nigerian queen, trailblazing political analyst, and she's one of the leading ladies of the Real Housewives of Potomac. We're currently actively working with her in season.
Yes,
We
yes.
a lot. We just dressed her for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Just a lot of amazing things.
Opportunities,
I can't wait for
yeah.
you guys to see the new season and see all of the looks that should be airing later on this year. I work with a lot of Bravo talent, so we're getting calls. The Chanel styling firm is staying busy, so I am excited.
I'm so glad. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. But thank you so much, Chanel, and all your fabulousness for coming and sitting on the royal couch today. Come on, beautiful faces. Let's make some more noise for Chanel. Thank you all for tuning in to Queens Village Live. This completes our show. Be sure to follow us on Queens Village Live on Instagram, and make sure you follow Miss Runway Competition. You can follow Chanel and all the beautiful faces that were here today to share their experience and their knowledge on the Power of Pageantry here on Queens Village Live. Thank you. Have a sunny day. Thank you.